positions of hopelessness and helplessness. The government gives them the drugs, builds bigger prisons, passes a 3-strike law, and then wants us to sing God Bless America. No, 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 not God Bless America. God damn America. That's in the Bible for killing innocent people. God damn America for treating us citizens as less than human. God damn America.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the fucking show. It's Pod Damn America, the stupid gothic podcast for freaks and little weirdos and the sicko guy in the window from Twitter looking at our podcast going, yes. I'm Jake Flores. That's Alex Patak.
Yes. Hello. Yes.
Anders Lee is here.
Long time sicko Anders fucking Lee here. I like how we're throwing F-bombs into our...
Clean up that language.
Only Jake can say it?
Jake's our bad guy.
All right.
I'm the villain of the picture.
You stand for the church. That is all I will say.
Okay.
Right. Baptized Lutheran.
Right. And that's what we wanted to talk about today. Jake is on tour.
Let me tell you about the South. I'm in Greensboro. Is there an S in there? Greenboro or Greensboro? I've been here before and I forgot. North Carolina.
I think there's an S.
Yeah, I believe so.
My life is insane right now. I wake up every day and I'm in a different city. I don't do the driving, so it feels very quantum leapy. Just like, oh, what mysteries are we going to solve in Louisville tonight before I get sent to another place to do my clown show?
How do they make all those sluggers?
I discovered it. You don't want to know. You don't want to know, pal. What I will say about the South while I'm in it is that the rumors are true. Racism is kind of from here in a way that is like pure and like overt that you don't really get that much in the places that we live and in the modern world. I was at Walmart last night. It's like incredible to hear someone just say a thing. Like you're like, what? People only are racist like this in woke movies, like where Jordan Peele makes you, go like. Grr.
Are you in the movie right now? Are we shooting a movie right now?
Yeah. Where is Jordan? So I was at Walmart last night because I got really drunk at the show in Louisville because it was a really good show and they had a incredible green room with like liquor and stuff and like
that's what's up.
I'm kind of like the only one that's really partying like to a degree here because all the old guys are sober and all the young people are like vegan, non-binary, healthy people and stuff, and I'm just like of this unique blip of a generation.
You're like a sin eater for drugs.
Yeah.
You're punishing yourself for the rest of them.
There's a couple other maniacs, but I feel like I'm a little bit like sticking
Let's
out.
name them.
Oh, they all have insane names like Peanut and Bebop and stuff.
Oh, hell yeah.
No one has a normal name here. The E6 guy speaks in his own language. They have a made-up language. I don't have the time to explain it, but there's a lot of weird shit going on here. Man, stuff you didn't know. But I left my fucking bag that has all my like clothes in it at the venue. And then like the next day I woke up in another city and I was like, oh, fuck. Like shit. And I called them and they're like, yeah, here it is. So they're just like going to mail it to New York. I'm going to pick it up when I'm there. Not a big problem. But all my shirts are in it. So I had to go to Walmart to like buy a shirt. So I'm wearing a Walmart shirt that has a cat on it. It says Hug Dealer. And I had to get like a phone charger.
How much was that, by the way?
I don't
really mind me asking.
I think it was like $15 or something.
That's an expensive Hug Dealer shirt.
I guessed. I don't know. I don't remember. I bought it with a bunch of other shit. It cost one hug. I dealt a hug. To hug an employee of Walmart.
The first one's free.
Is that what the greeters do? They hug people?
I hug them. That's a greeting.
Okay.
Yeah, the first one's free. That's how you get them hooked. Next thing you know, you're sucking dick in an alley for a hug. Just
the hug greeters in Italy, when you go to Walmart, they kiss you on the cheek. It's very invasive.
Yeah, that's actually where COVID came from, not China.
I mean, that's the least the Italians do.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, you know who would probably have an opinion about the Italians? This guy I met in line at Walmart. So, like, there's, first of all, very dystopian shit going on. All the phone chargers are in like a glass case. Like, you have to ask to get them like fucking spray paint or whatever, because I guess like we live in a world where people are living in tents and stuff, and like you have to have a phone, and like people are just going into Walmart to steal fucking access to the internet or whatever. So it's like fucked up. Like they have somebody guard it and shit. It's like, I had to do that, and then there's no like checkout people. It's all self checkout. So it's just like, I don't know. It just feels weird. It's like, you all check your own shit out, and I'm just gonna watch you through a security camera and like, ugh, right? So everyone's at self checkout. And there's a guy next to me, like kind of shuffling around, and he's blasting like Tejano music on his phone, and he's having a conversation like he's on like AirPods. And then I look over, and there's no AirPods in his ears. You know, he's just talking to the universe or whatever.
Okay.
And like the first thing that happened is that like at one point he looked at me and he went, "Dollar, dollar bill, y'all." But he was not listening to that song. He was listening to like weird Mexican radio or whatever.
Well, it's always like, true.
Okay, I guess what a weird move. And then he just sort of was shuffling around and like was struggling to scan a granola bar or something. And then he finally took a look at me and the other two people I was with and just went like, "There's so fucking many of them here. It's a goddamn Mexican invasion." And like, I'm ambiguous, you know? So I was like, am I down here? But like, do I stand out more? Or is he like looking past me and he's saying that because he thinks I'm white? Or is he just talking to God and just like complaining about Mexicans or whatever? I fucking never know.
I put the money on 3, I think.
I think he was just insane, but it was crazy to hear somebody just out loud, unfucking fettered, you know, whatever, just like release a fucking line like that about Mexicans
while listening to Mexican music, I guess.
Right, that's what was so confusing about it. I think maybe he was.
Did somebody else put that on? And then he's like, "Get this out of here.
Yeah,
following me around."
That might have been it.
He was listening to it with one of his devices, or it was coming from somewhere else?
A lot of stuff in this story.
There's a lot of stuff.
It might have just been coming out of him. I think it was on his phone, though.
Because that would be pretty funny. It sounds like he's an older guy. If one of his younger relatives or something showed him how to set up his phone and just only put Mexican music on it.
That's probably why he's so mad.
Yeah.
As an inside agent. Yeah, maybe he meant it in a positive way, like when the British invasion brought us rock and roll.
Yeah.
Oh,
true. Yeah.
You look like a rock band, so maybe he meant you're the Beatles from Mexico.
It's the Mexican invasion around here.
Los cucarachas are here.
I mean, I'm trying to think of a mop-headed Latino person. I'm thinking of Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite. That's what he's envisioning.
Me and him are gonna have to start a band called the Cucarachas.
Yeah,
I mean, Pedro was running for class president, so that's kind of an invasion in a way.
Yeah,
if you remember,
it could happen here.
It could happen here. Pedro could be class president.
That's where the Texas State Troopers came from, was to stop Pedro from running for office.
That's
right. Not him specifically, but look, the general Pedro, like that's like do you know that about the cops? I think we talked about this on the show before, but the Texas State Troopers, this like special cops that Texas has originally were to intimidate Mexicans from running for office in Texas.
Wow, I have not heard that before, and I would remember.
I thought you were going to say from coming to Texas, but there are people who are already there, citizens running for office.
Yeah,
interesting.
That was in Alex Vitale's book, End of Policing.
Oh.
Your tax dollars at work, keeping Pedro from becoming class president.
I don't even remember. Refresh my memory. And give me a spoiler alert. Does Pedro win that? He does, right?
I don't remember.
Fuck. Pop quiz. Pop quiz, hotshot. Did Pedro actually become class president after that famous dance scene?
Right? It would be it would be a very disappointing movie if it was.
I really blacked out after the dance scene. I remember the dance. I think he loses. It's kind of a movie about losers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but losers I don't really remember winning.
What the movie is about at all. I just remember vague scenes like the nerdy guy getting married to the tall black chick is pretty funny.
Oh, yeah, his friend from the internet. And Napoleon gets all those tots smashed in his pocket.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Man, simpler time.
It was very weird because...
Check out Napoleon Dynamite if you like politics in the United States today. There's a lot for it to offer. I'm looking it up.
It really is, in a way, it's like disco, right? Because disco was the first popular music that parents approved of. Because before disco, every single popular music, younger generation liked it, and the parents were freaking out. This is, destroying the youth, corrupting our minds. And Napoleon Dynamite was kind of the same thing because they're Mormon, so they're using words like flipping instead of, I don't know if I can say this again, but F-U-C-K-I-N-G.
Right. Thank you for censoring yourself.
Parents loved it, but it became it was like this ironic sort of thing for a few years where you would say flipping instead of fucking.
Hey! Flipping.
Put a coin,
We've established who swears, and it's Jake.
Put a Bitcoin in this digital swear jar that we use.
You're going to funge around on the goddamn podcast.
Yeah. We should say funging instead of, F-U-C-K.
Yeah, F word.
That could be good, and it would encourage children to funge. I don't exactly understand. I know we did a whole episode on NFTs, but I don't really get them still.
Well, you can't funge them. They're non-fuckable tokens.
Now he can swear. It's funny when he swears.
They're so bad because they're so bored because no one wants to fuck them.
I have been a non-fuckable token. I know what that's like. I was at a dance party with my friend
doing it again.
A friend, Puerto Rican extraction, who was just living it up on the dance floor. I was with him. I was the only Caucasian there, and I was the token, and I was non-fuckable. A girl actually very condescendingly waved her finger in my face when I was sort of gesturing to dance. So that's a phenomenon that could easily be distilled into a currency of some kind, and get some market share out of it.
That's messed up. I'm sorry that happened to you.
Non-fuckable token.
Waved her finger at you.
She really laughed. Hurtful. I was I thought she wanted to dance for a second, and so I motioned towards her, and she started laughing.
Did you start reeling her in like a fish? When people do that on the dance floor, they throw you the rope, start pulling it.
No, that's too. See, there's sort of nodes in my brain that as a Nordic man that prevent me from being too forward with women, but it was a very subtle gesture towards moving in to cut in and dance with her because I thought that's what she wanted, but she was started laughing hysterically.
As a descendant of Vikings, you don't want to confuse anybody to thinking you're reaving them like you did the coasts of England.
Yeah,
that time is behind us.
Right.
We're
somewhere along the line. Yeah, somewhere along the line, our brain matter got completely reversed in terms of the pursuit of female.
Well, that's interesting. By the way, I've figured out Pedro did win the class presidency after the dance scene. And then he celebrates by having a party with his family that I kind of remember.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. How many of those votes, though, were from the undocumented, I think?
Wow.
Needs to be reviewed.
That's something that will be explored.
That's what
you would say it.
Well, that's the thing is I wonder because conservatives love that movie. Liberals love that movie. Whatever was, left of the left at that time loved that movie. What did the right wingers think about Pedro winning the election?
I'm going to push back on this. I don't think that Napoleon Dynamite was a big hit for conservatives.
Yes, it was. It was from Idaho. Mormons. It's a Mormon movie. I mean, maybe just Mormons who are like almost universally conservative, except for like one woman I met one time. It was very strange. So maybe other evangelicals didn't like it, but at least Mormons liked it.
Well, I'm just saying it's very alty. That's all I'm saying.
I think Anders is onto something though, because like especially with like Mormons, and it's probably also true of evangelicals, there's like very specific stuff that they allow themselves to like, and so they become super fans of it, like Jim Gaffigan, right?
Oh yeah,
comedian. He sells out, like he has like a residency in Salt Lake City for like a fucking months at a time or whatever, because he's the only comedian they're allowed to watch. Yeah, and, I think that probably happened with the
his wife writes for him.
Of Napoleon Dynamite. I know it's weird.
Dry Bar Comedy is this whole I think it's at least a festival, but they also like will do specials, but it's run by Mormons and it's 100% clean. And that doesn't mean it's bad. There's some really innovative, hilarious people who do it. But it's 100% clean.
Jim Gaffigan he'll roll through even. Your favorite comedian, Jim Gaffigan. Hot Pockets.
We should start a Mormon clean podcast and make $1 bazillion. It's sometimes in America.
Well, I was trying to do Jim's like, his voice where he.
That was not even fucking in the ballpark of what that was.
Who among us doesn't enjoy a good Jim Gaffigan impression? Hello, I'm Jim Gaffigan.
I'm scared. I'm doing a podcast.
Oh, that's more like him.
Sometimes I'll show up at the clean club and just play Napoleon Dynamite on stage.
Okay, I figured it out. Here's if we're like posh America. Or no,
All right, now you're cutting out, Anders.
It was a great impression. I thought it was excellent.
Posh darn America.
There it is.
I am Robot Gaffigan. Hot Pockets make my circuits fry.
I'm genuinely loving this. This is great. Okay, any other stuff going on tour? Any other big tour updates?
I don't know. Probably, but nothing off the dome. The shows are really good. You should come out and watch one if you're in one of these weird ass fucking backwoods hick sticks cities where you voted for Trump.
He can say it. He's the bad guy.
Yeah. I'm not like that. That's a stupid liberal.
Hey, I'm sorry I did that. That's not who I am.
So Bill Maher goes to the South and to like conservative areas.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, people like there's people who think they latch on to what he's peddling. He's a little anti-woke. Even though he's
too, if you're a liberal in a conservative area, any guy whose whole thing is gonna pull you, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Like Jon Stewart filled that role for a very long time.
There's also like a weird grift of like, there's a lot of like the liberal redneck down here or whatever. Like
right.
That's literally a sketch group that our friends made and is very successful.
Oh, right. We know them. They're very funny, but I'm just saying it's like, but that's like, not just them. There's like a lot of that in comedy down here because there's people that are like, ideologically still a bunch of stuff, but like think of themselves as kind of separate from the conservative thing. And like, it's fine. I just think like, I want to live in a world where there's like the communist redneck, like fucking push it all the way,
Hats off to them. I tip my hat to them because like I don't like doing political stuff like in Bushwick. I just don't. For whatever reason, I'm very bad at incorporating politics into stand up at all, like explicitly. So if I can't even imagine trying to do that in like, Tennessee or something.
Dude, like honestly, this tour has been really interesting because the Eve 6 guy is like, if you follow him on Twitter, he's like tweeting about anti-capitalist shit. And when I first like was gearing up to do this, I kind of was doing like Twitter-ish humor, like the first show. And then I noticed immediately like, oh, none of these people like actually are the Twitter followers. They're like legitimate alternative rock fans who just like going to concerts and stuff. And I started to talk to him about it, and he, we were talking about how it's funny because like a lot of these people in the audience at these shows will, like, if they looked at his Twitter, their fucking heads would explode. And like he gets like these angry emails that are like, I followed you for 10 years, but I can't with what you're doing now and stuff. And like, so because of that, there's this weird thing of like he booked me like on purpose, and this, gay ska band, as they call themselves, We Are the Union, like in order to challenge his audience a little bit and to like to kind of like have us throw out some of the more radical stuff, I think. And like it does work. Like I noticed this, because I've had to like temper my set to where I'm like getting towards some of the ideas, but not outright beating people over the head with, some fucking aggressive take on like, we fuck you didn't over Bernie or whatever. And so like, but like the other night in Louisville, I noticed like I have a joke about yelling at a stripper, "Are you in a union?" And like when I said union, people like cheered. And I was like, oh, it's that funny thing about the South. Everyone's pro-union, but they hate communism and they don't understand it's like the same shit.
And they think there's a Mexican invasion happening.
Yeah, well, they know there's a Mexican invasion happening.
That's what they're uniting against, really. It's against management and the people of Mexico, who are a present and constant threat for them.
Yeah, they called the Texas state troopers on me. They're on their way from Texas.
Yeah, comedians. No Mexican comedians is going to be their next assignment.
Yeah, it is not safe for Fluffy to perform in that area.
Yeah, he's too fluffy. Someone could get smothered by him.
He's not big. He's fluffy.
Yeah.
This is a misconception a lot of people have.
He's like Kirby. He's like Mexican Kirby.
Yeah, if Kirby just ate like a lot of human food, and that was his thing.
John Panette was a lot like Kirby. Remember him? I'm starving.
Yeah. Oh man,
Anders on a delay, but that really hit with it. Oh boy!
Someone do that. Someone make a meme out of that. Kirby John Panette.
He's inhaling a bunch of sandwiches and shit.
Yeah.
Kind of fun.
Somebody do that. Somebody do that and get back to us.
Anyway, what the fuck?
Well, I don't know if you've seen this, but since you were gone, Elon Musk has attempted to purchase Twitter.com.
Yeah, I did see that.
How real of an attempt do you think that was? Because
have you seen this and have you heard about this?
You asking me or Jake?
I'm asking anyone who will listen.
You're just doing stand up, Jay Leno. You heard about this?
There have been 2 attempts so far, or I don't know if they're attempts or what, but he's said he's going to do it, backed out, said he's going to do it again, backed out. I don't know how long he's going to make us play this little game.
So he originally offered to buy it for $44 billion, right?
Hoya Matza.
Which, as Jeremy Hammond from my other podcast pointed out, Google bought YouTube for $2 billion. There's no way you're going to make $44 billion back on Twitter. That's impossible.
Okay. In all fairness, though, YouTube was invented by a guy from St. Paul who went to Central High School, my sister's high school. And we don't know the difference between 2 billion and 44 billion. That he 100% was just like, yes, at the first offer. Anybody from St. Paul would do that. So maybe the market share was actually quite higher than that. And he just is a plum fool.
That's tough for people from St. Paul. They don't know the difference between 2 and 44. That's really hard.
Well, we just get excited. We, when that offer comes in, our eyes get wide and we, cash signs fill up our eyeballs and we don't think.
Your Nordic instincts kick in.
Yeah.
You have treasure chest full of gold coins in your mind.
Right. This guy was Asian, but still.
He still applies.
Yeah. Still applies. Asian Vikings are some of the worst kinds.
Does Does Twitter like turn a profit? I remember reading at one point that it was one of those companies that they're just like dumping tons of money into it, and it doesn't turn a profit, but yet is like their thing. Like, but when it does
Tesla turn a profit? And he's already the richest man in the world from owning that. So,
yeah.
But the news is now. I mean, I think the deal is still on, as far as I can tell. I have this article up from like 40 minutes ago on Reuters. How do you say that? Reuters. That doesn't seem like how this should be spelled. And that's
Reuters. I hardly know her.
That's good.
It's painful Reuters. It's hard to go to the bathroom.
I have Reut rage.
I sit on my Reuters and they agitate my crotch area.
Okay, I think we fleshed that out enough.
I'm
go
going to
hope
my joke there. I'm going to hope my joke got cut out there by my connection, but
it might have, because it's really in and out. Anyway, so the story now is that he is losing billions of dollars of equity just by looking so financially unstable that his company's stocks are crashing. So
that's awesome.
I guess is this saying Tesla lost 20% of its value or something? They lost like tens of billions of dollars in a day.
I'm not like a conspiracy, like, oh, this was planned the whole time as a way for him to lose money. It doesn't make any sense. But like, I think there was kind of a collective freak out and hallucination on some level when it was announced this possible thing was going to happen where he bought Twitter, and like it was a very fun week to be staring at your phone because everyone was just like, fuck this. But like I don't think it's kind of a non-story. I don't know, because like, first of all, Twitter's already owned by some dickhead, you know what I mean? It's not like that much worse if Elon
used to
buys
be owned by Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. It was scary what he was saying when he was like in the process of maybe purchasing it, because he was making all these fucking really stupid, like 9th grade libertarian statements about free speech, which, is an interesting topic. And I know we talked about that when I talked about P. Moskowitz's book with them on the show, but like it was like a billionaire telling you they love the fact that you have free speech is suspect, right? They're bullshitting you. They like, he's union busting out of the other side of his mouth while he's like, free speech is great. I thought that
I have the quote here if you want to dig into that. This is the Elon Musk quote on free speech from Tuesday. By free speech, I simply mean that which matches the law.
Idiot.
I am against censorship that goes far beyond the law. If people want less free speech, they will ask government to pass laws to that effect. Therefore, going beyond the law is contrary to the will of the people.
Why is it in like broken English? Like when you get
I don't know. It's like a decree he's making. Like this is a new rule that you have to find out about.
God, I mean, there's so many things about what he's saying that are just like mind-numbingly like weird and wrong. Like, if your fucking definition of free speech, if the whole point of this is that you want like the content of Twitter to be regulated by like the state itself, why is it nationalized Twitter? Like, why
do you own it?
Have to be the guy to own it to make that happen? Crazy
apartheid emerald mine heir.
Yeah, and it's like a private. That's not how private companies work. Is the fact that it's not like state owned is why it can enforce whatever fucking like speech rules it wants, but also like there is not really that much of a concept of free speech. So He just wants to say fucking mean shit to trans people, right? That's like the whole thing. Because he's mad at fucking his ex-girlfriend for dating Chelsea Manning.
This is all spiraling from a powerful divorce series of events. Because this is like maybe the worst financial decision anyone in humankind has made in history. Just in terms of like the scope of it. Like $44 billion. I guess the U.S. military wastes like around that much money on planes that explode and stuff, or trying to develop a bomb carried by bats or any of the fun things that they do. But
yeah,
one person individual, like a bunch of people make those decisions. This is just one guy.
Yeah.
Do you think Donald Trump will come back?
I hope so. Well, do you know about Truth? Donald Trump isn't coming back to Twitter because he made his own Twitter.
I've heard it's bad, though. I've heard it doesn't work very well.
That can't be true.
Of course.
That can't be true.
Instead of tweets, they're called truths. And like when you make a truth account, I'm going to make one today, I think. The Eve 6 guy made one the other day, just started tweeting about cum and communism and stuff, or truthing, sorry. And it's really funny, like when you make your account, it makes you follow two people, like to just agitate content or whatever. And so like you know it's like suggested Donald Trump and Ted Nugent, and then like you page before you tweet anything, it says no truths found. It's just so stupid, man.
Wow.
Are there any rules with how you interact with people? Like, does it work different than Twitter?
I think it's just the fucking carbon copy. I don't know. I'll have to report back on that because I think I'm going to do it today. But like, there was kind of a moment when everyone was like, I'm leaving Twitter, where it's like, are we all going to kind of end up on the Truth platform, like doing the same thing?
Look, we would all love to leave Twitter, but it's not going to happen. What will you talk about?
Yeah, I'm not doing that shit. I have too many followers on Twitter. I'm not starting over on Truth. Are you kidding me?
You're going to spend time with the people you love? Gross.
It would be funny if...
Joseph Goebbels is trending today.
That would be funny if there was like an exodus to truth, like there was from Tumblr to Twitter. And there's like instead of left Twitter, there's a left truth.
You got to be the change there, my homie.
I mean, there are a bunch of people that are just on it to troll the platform. So maybe.
If only there were laws in place to kind of get those people out of there.
The question really is do you do what I saw during our last recording, which was a POV video from a mass shooter? Which platform is going to allow that? That's really the question. If you're an ultimate believer in the big FS, and you know, maybe there should be a platform if you really believe in free speech. That's just that.
I think Elon should allow Anders to say fuck on Twitter. Then I will believe in the big FS, as you say.
I don't believe in that. I think that should be stopped at all costs, and that it's a menace to our public goodwill for him to use those words. Those
I'm
words
going to tweet at him
are a
right
sin,
now.
Are a light sin to use curse words forbidden by God.
I will tweet at his ass right now. Can I say ass?
Paradox
no, you cannot say ass.
Oh, fuck.
If we
shoot. You know what's funny is network TV and this is not a law. This is like a standard that, or no, it's a law before 10 p.m. But after 10 p.m., you can literally legally do and say whatever you want on network TV, basically. But the standard, and this may have changed, but at least this was the case all through, you know, my TV watching days. You could say ass. You cannot say asshole. And if you say asshole on like a talk show or something, they bleep out the whole part.
The whole.
Really?
Yeah.
Weird.
So you can say ass, bitch, damn. You cannot say the S word. And you could definitely not say, you know, the other side of flip.
That is one of the like aesthetically high tier bleeps is the middle of a word bleep.
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot of laughs on the bleep.
Right. It's swearing, you know, you think as a kid it's going to make you seem cool, and it really doesn't once you're grown up. But
that's what I'm saying.
If you get bleeped, you do look like a really cool person.
They're trying to censor my thoughts, man. And I'm up here tired to talk about ass. Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the bleep makes the censorship real. So what you then watch is now a struggle. It is a struggle for a new vocabulary waiting to be born.
It is a time of fuckers.
Okay, so I'm tweeting at
It's funny
Elon
when
Musk.
he does it.
I don't know
So
why.
I'm tweeting, if you end up getting Twitter, will you let me post the F word? And now I'm starting to think maybe he's going to think I'm talking about the other F word.
That's
Right.
possible. He's going to go, absolutely, yes, I will tweet it right now. And then just tweet that word a bunch of times because he's angry at trans people. What we got to do is we use the Bitcoin swear jar that Anders has been putting Bitcoins into this entire time, and then we'll have enough money to overtake Elon. And that'll be the end of the story.
Yeah.
Finally, the story can rest.
Twitter has been purchased for 90 unfuckable tokens.
You left his.
So, fellas, Bernie Sanders is running for president, maybe. How do you feel about that?
Apparently he swears a lot.
Yeah, he calls stuff bullshit a lot, which is like very like cool, for a politician.
I have a question for Mr. Musk. Can you suck on my dick? I'm talking about shooting a huge load.
More like
really
Elon
into
Bust.
blue Bernie Sanders. That's a really cool guy.
I mean, I'm tempted to do this because it's very fun, but I feel like we did like 4 straight years of the top 1% of my dick is, just a refill.
Do you ever hit the whoa on a bitch? So bad.
It's still funny. All these years later, it's still funny.
She got the sheet stuck to her shoulders from your huge load.
Looking like Superman in there.
My wife hates this. This is very funny.
Oh, she's sending a disapproving look over your way?
Yeah, she's shaking her head and she's wagging a finger.
Tell Alyssa that I'm with her.
Alyssa, Anders supports your disapproval. But he's been a bad boy today, so I don't think you should accept it.
All right, fine.
Not swearing.
Bernard.
He's
Not
swearing.
Me. Come. Is that a thing?
Huh?
I don't know. I was trying to think of a not me, us one, but it didn't really work.
Oh, okay. Well, that's sort of a mutual masturbation statement if you think about it. Not me, us.
Yeah. That's what's going on there.
Has he said he's running for president, or we just all assumed he was because he started showing up for things?
Well,
No,
it's
so-
kind of like this Elon Musk thing, right? Where it's like you just kind of get a whiff of the story off of social media, and you very well might find out a week later it was completely fake. That fucking happens with social media.
This story is real, though, because what happened is a memo went out to endorsees of Bernie Sanders for 2022. And, just sort of a guideline about if they're asked about his endorsement. And you don't send out this memo without knowing that it's going to get leaked, it's going to get written about and talked about, right? If there's any sort of exciting details. And they made it a point to include that he is leaving the door open for 2024 if Joseph R. Biden declines to run for re-election, which is a big if.
Oh, okay. So we're not getting him then.
Well, here's the thing. It is in a year, he's already declined cognitively so much over the past 3 years, 4 years. In 1 year from now, I think that's going to be a valid issue, right?
Can he get any lower than he is now? I keep watching videos of him turning around to shake ghosts' hands.
Right. How are you going to, it's a liability, I think. He got through 2020 because of COVID. I think, it's who knows, but it's quite likely that Trump would have won were it not for COVID.
These are the same people who know that we are dooming the planet for climate change, but are also asking to increase shale oil production. I don't trust any kind of logical through line to persuade them on anything except keeping power, which they already have.
What do you think about the theory that like that's why they're floating the student debt cancellation stuff right now, as like a gambit to invigorate people for the next election?
Oh, that's definitely what they're doing.
Yeah.
Do you think it's just one of their many campaign promises they're fulfilling, despite the fact they didn't do any of the other promise?
This was never a promise because he had some campaign promises. Basically, none of them were fulfilled. This is one thing he can do without the Senate or the House, and he's, not. This is just goes against his. It seems, if you listen to him, Biden during the campaign, and his early days as president, he could not conceive, and I think still has a hard time wrapping his head around just canceling debt. It's just like we're talking about with Graeber. He wrote a book inspired by saying one must pay one's debts. This is an ideology, right, that grips most of the political class.
He's a Lannister-style politician.
Right, and that's not going to – I think if it gets to a point where you literally have nothing else that you can offer anyone, then I think he might do it as just a one-off thing. He'll be remembered for that, for his legacy. It's not a sure thing to do it.
Sounds like they're like trying to get people excited, and then they're gonna like really fucking scale it back and means test it and stuff, and go like, you get $10,000 forgiven, not the whole thing, unless you whatever the fuck.
That's what they're talking about up top. He already said he wouldn't go as high as $50,000, which is like most people who went to a 4-year college have taken out more money in debt than that. I don't know, have you seen how expensive these things are? It's crazy.
Yeah. That's the thing is, unless you do it 100%, no one's really going to notice, except for a few people who have like low levels.
People will notice, but the question isn't whether they notice a good thing happening once and to a small degree. It's does everyone forget the utmost contempt this man and his people have shown to the entire concept of ameliorating things for working Americans the entire time he's been in office? He got over the finish line and then spit in our faces.
He got to the finish line by spitting on our faces too. Like, he never pretended to be anything other than he was, which is why I think he should be, even if he does run.
I am Robot Biden.
I am Robot Biden. That's what this campaign is all about.
Just listen, Jack. Input, Jack.
Initiate push-up protocol.
Insert corn pop.
Oh, speaking of corn pop.
Oh, you're back. All right, there you go.
You were out that entire time. Your sound went out.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm on a hot spot here.
Yeah, Anders' internet has not moved to New York with him yet.
Right. I'm basically in an apartment. It's extremely dirty and perfect for
I am Robot Anders. Anders, robot here.
I have girlfriend.
This is so stupid.
Engaging in copulation.
Oh.
Eep, 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 eep.
How am I doing now?
You're back.
You sound great. Oh, man.
I am Robo Obama.
I know this is a legitimate problem and not a bit, but it's really funny. He only comes in to be like, I'm coming back.
I'm having fun making up robots. Robo Obama, right? He's like,
I'm going to leave and come back.
Your bike can hear you. Okay.
Okay, he's going to come. Anders is going to be right back, folks. But anyway, yeah, I think we're getting Robo Biden. I think they're gonna replace parts of his body with different machines day by day until he is able to run for president again.
Yeah, I mean, like the thing you're describing about like the fact that they have this like visible disdain for all working people, I think is only perceivable to people with class consciousness. And I'm in an incredibly cynical place right now as I am traveling the country and talking to the great people that live here. And everyone is living in a completely class consciousness free, like make them up reality of their own design.
Ooh.
But it's all smothered in like a massive amount of cynicism and realism. And like, I don't think people will understand that things are bad for them because of what Biden is doing. You just have to do a lot of book learning and read.
That's true.
You have to email Chomsky every night to like really understand this like we do. But like most people can't and don't. And, you know, that's why like Bernie was good, is because it was like, okay, an organized effort to like get these messages out there kind of gets people thinking about stuff. But like, I don't know, man.
I know what you're saying, but I the perception, the like educated political analysis of it, I don't think most people have. But like, even if you know that he's disrespecting working people, or you don't know that, it's very palpable that he has disdain for young people, and all these aesthetics of like this old codger shaking his fist at you do register with people. So it's not totally grad school shit.
So here's the thing. I feel like getting people politicized is very difficult to do without some sort of unifying campaign. And when I say campaign, I don't necessarily mean an electoral campaign. I mean like Starbucks and Amazon, what's happening there right now. The question is, could that be complemented by another presidential campaign? I think that's still an open question. But my theory on this sort of story right now is that it's possible that it's not unlikely that he is actually considering Bernie. But I think it's stronger possibility that he's trying to get something from this, that he's kind of threatening something, right? He's saying, we need, Biden, you're going to run again. You need to do X, Y, and Z, or Kamala needs to do X, Y, and Z behind the scenes. I still think someone should challenge Biden or Kamala. But the fact is, like, I hate Joe Biden. But his NLRB is the National Labor Relations Board is the best really since, I don't know, Johnson. Like they basically one part of the PRO Act, which is not going to pass, was to ban captive audience meetings. And when that happened, we're like, shit, well, it's not going to work. The NLRB just did that unilaterally. They decided that these shouldn't be legal, and for these reasons. So I think, there's some possibility there. I don't, the question is, do we need, I mean, I'm going to support whatever challenge no matter what, but should that be a focus to what degree does that complement what's happening now in the labor movement with Starbucks workers, Amazon workers, and other industries and companies where workers are organizing as well?
That is the one. I'm personally not very optimistic or excited about anything happening electorally for the next forever. But the union stuff is really exciting and hasn't happened in America at least since 1980. Union participation has gone way down, and now there's some in these places where they make you pee in a jar at work. So get hyped, folks. We're doing it.
Yeah,
right.
It's pretty cool. Did you see Chris Smalls with Bernie wearing his Eat the Rich jacket?
Yeah, that was great.
I love his jacket and his whole thing.
They're very moving to see him and Stephen Donziger are been hanging out, and they spent like 3 hours together talking about their respective struggles.
I wonder if they went to Stephen's house. He's probably sick of his house.
He had to. Well, this is before he got let off. But what's really exciting about the Amazon Labor Union is it's not just strictly workplace issues that they're talking about. They're talking about the broader economic system. They're talking about the environment. I think imperialism to some degree. Those are big things, as we've talked about on the show before.
Do you think they talk about girls?
The Lena Dunham vehicle.
I just meant like ladies, but yeah, I mean, they could talk about that too. It's a wild show if you remember it. Adam Driver stays eating pussy.
Yeah.
It's a part of the plot that he's like trying to do it too much. And she's like, no.
Can I just say, this is the only thing I would say to some of the doubters on the left about Bernie 24 or another presidential campaign, which again, I don't know if that's going to be a smart choice. I will vote for somebody, but I don't know if it's going to be worth putting a lot of resources into. Only thing I would say is try to remember what you said in 2017, 2018 about Bernie, because I knew a lot of people back then who were like, no fucking way. Get that old white guy needs to go away. And people on the left too, socialists, were like, he needs to go away. We're done with electoral politics. Or there's some people who are literally saying, Kirsten Gillibrand is actually going to be the next Bernie Sanders. She's got a better chance and has the same policies. And these are all people on from the social democratic to sort of Marxist spectrum were saying this stuff. And almost all of them turned right around once it got serious. So even if you don't want to participate in the primaries, which is understandable, they're going to happen anyway. And it's going to be pretty fucking shitty. Pardon my illegality there.
I don't like it when you do that.
But it's going to be pretty dreadful to see either a Biden coronation or a Kamala Pete Buttigieg debate with no left-wing challenge at all. Even if we don't win, I think there is value in having a standard bearer just for coherence of the socialist movement. That's my 2 cents.
I think my kind of 2 cents on this is Bernie's a million years old, and also like we've just seen it kind of proven that they're just gonna, Havana syndrome him or whatever if he gets close to winning. But like, something about like looking at like Lula and AMLO and all these like social democratic types around the globe is that if you're running from that direction anywhere, it kind of seems like you have to run like 5 times to win. So it could happen, maybe, probably not. I'm not real optimistic about it, but that is at least a reason to go take another crack at it. What's the worst that could happen?
Right. It would be cool if we could take his brain and inject it into a younger body, maybe by destroying or crushing the soul inside and allowing him to, in a way, possess that form and have a second life through that body.
A ghost in the machine,
Yeah.
Yeah, cyborg robot ghost Bernie, I think is.
I'm not saying we even have to improve like his body or his functionality at all, but he's got to live longer.
Imagine robot Bernie Sanders in your head right now. Right now, let's think about this. What does he look like? Why did you give him the exact same hunchback he had as a human? It's because it's the way he looks. But isn't that fucked up that they would do that to a robot? Is like make you look imperfect,
Yeah, I would want him to look perfect.
There is some sort of cyborg situation going on potentially. So there's a book that just dropped, or I don't know if it's come out fully, but the excerpts are leaking and being talked about. But there's one excerpt by Ari Ravenhaft, who was one of his campaign aides, and he said that those stitches, because Bernie cut his head on the shower or something and had to get stitches during the campaign last time. And when he got the stitches removed, there was no scar. And this is like an almost 80-year-old guy. And it came out like nothing.
His vitality is off of the charts.
It is crazy. Yeah. I mean, he's older than Biden, but cognitively, one does not hold a candle to the other.
Would you hold it against him if it came out that he was doing Peter Thiel's style blood transfusions to have the energy and vigor of young blood in his body?
Not at all. I mean, I've long thought
at all.
Professional sports teams should have at least one designated steroid user, and that should be the rule.
Fucking awesome. You have like a ringer who's like a huge jacked freak.
Right, a captain. I think that's fair to let one of them do it as a captain.
Yeah, it looks like the Ginyu Force. That's fucking cool. And it's crazy from all the steroids and what they do to your brains and shit.
Because here's the thing about steroids is if they're all on steroids, it's not going to look that much better because everybody's going to be so fast and agile and strong. If you just have one person on steroids on every team, it's a squash match every game of the steroids person against weak, normal human men.
Yeah. This is assuming that Bernie keeps his corporeal form, though, and that he does not become a mech, or like a Robotron.
I just don't think like mech technology. I know the whole thing is a bit far-fetched, but mech technology, I would wait longer before putting myself in the robot body. I would wait till 2040 when it's 150 degrees every day.
When they start doing that shit, if you bought the first generation, you're gonna look like an idiot. The first clunky robot body look like a giant PlayStation. Then I'm
gonna get a really good body with all this fucking money I'm about to make.
I'm like one of those
sometime. I don't know how, but it's gonna happen.
I mean, he's gonna be in his 80s. That is crazy to think, but like, I feel like he has no interest in retirement. Like when he dies, it's gonna be still in the struggle in some form. He's gonna just keep going, right?
Boomers love working to death. That's like a generational thing.
He's so old, he's not even a boomer, though. He's part of the silent generation.
Insane. That's why he talks to those ghosts.
Yeah.
His friends.
Or as he calls them, friends.
Right.
I can't be the only person, though, who's seen, like, people talking about retiring so they can start a business or follow their entrepreneurial passions. And it's like, just lie down, you bitch. What are you talking about?
You know what I want to do when I'm retired is, I heard this today, is that like there's really no risk to when you're at a certain age, like 80 plus, to just dropping acid constantly. Because when you're a young person, it's like that's gonna fuck you up long term. But when you're 85, it's like I'm only gonna be alive for 10 more years maybe. So just fucking have fun.
Anders, I think you should start dropping acid constantly, specifically. I think this is the twist your personality needs, is like deadhead Anders Lee.
Really? I had a roommate who actively tried to prevent me from doing Molly because he did not think it would end well.
He's afraid.
I know.
Yeah.
But I did it. It was fine.
He's afraid of how many girlfriends you'll have if you start doing hard drugs daily.
Yeah.
I'm flipping losing my mind right now.
I'm motioning you over to dance. And it zooms out and Andrew's talking to a tree.
Like Biden, the way he talks to ghosts.
I want you to become more like Joseph Biden. Joseph R. Brandon. Well, these are the events of the week. Is there anything else we want to talk about on the way out here?
I don't know if you guys are interested in getting some t-shirts. Wait, well, let me ask you this. You guys are both New Yorkers, as am I again.
That's correct.
Would you say that you're New Yorkers for justice? Is that something you support?
I'd say that's primarily my main political focus is justice, yes.
New Yorkers for justice, right.
I think I'm working in the other direction, but we keep going.
Okay. I mean, I consider myself a New Yorker for justice. I'm part of the New Yorker for Justice movement. And when I, see these flyers from New Yorkers for Justice, I get very excited, right? I'm like, what amazing things have they cooked up? I support justice in all forms, but they're sending out mailers to New Yorkers, ostensibly New Yorkers who are for justice as well. And they are about the proven leadership of one Andrew Cuomo, there's a campaign that is for the sole purpose of public awareness. It's not in conjunction with any political candidate or campaign. Okay. And they're sending out these mailers that just show what Cuomo did over his tenure as governor, the things he was dragged kicking and screaming to do, like a $15 minimum wage and free state college tuition for like 6 people. And at the end, it says, allegations do not equal guilt. Governor Cuomo has always maintained his innocence. and the district attorneys, and it also plugs the fact that he hasn't gotten arrested for groping yet. And if you're interested in the justice, getting even deeper on justice, check out the merch that New Yorkers for Justice is pushing, which is a series of T-shirts that literally say, "Gender does not equal truth."
That's true as well. That gender does not equal truth.
Truth is a website that you tweeted Donald Trump on.
Yeah. Well,
also, I lost all my shirts, so tell me something.
Yeah, Jake just needs shirts of any kind.
I'll wear that on stage. That's confusing.
Yeah, I kind of want to get one because it's kind of making sort of a critique of gender ideology, right? Of the social construction of gender. I don't think that's what he was going for, although he would say this is not him. This is just a group of New Yorkers who love justice. But it's kind of amazing that the gall to put out these shirts, which are not, again, what the fuck is, you're walking down the street and you see somebody with "gender does not equal truth" on their shirt. What the fuck are you going to think that means?
Well, you point at it and you say, "That's right."
Yeah. And then the really just amazing thing to me is a lot of these characters, right, who
require fuel.
They will actually do stuff.
Initiate sexual harassment program. Okay, go ahead. You're back.
So a lot of these public figures.
This is bad.
Stuff is bad. Sorry, I've lost my track. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're back.
Andrew Cuomo was such a narcissist. Promoting other examples of men who have been, in his view, unfairly canceled.
And we will have links to Andrew Cuomo's merch in the description of this podcast. If you do not think gender equals truth, you must support former and future governor Andrew Cuomo on his Berserk-style revenge tour to take back the New York State House.
Sorry, Anders, you were going out. We should probably
a lot. It's not. I don't think we can keep most of it. Anyway, Andrew Cuomo did nothing wrong. That's all I wanted to say. We should probably do some plugs.
Okay. Come see me on the Eve 6 tour if you're in one of these godforsaken, dumps in the middle of the country. These flyover states that we're going to. And the other states. We're also coming back to New York and then over to part of California that's close to Los Angeles.
If you're in a state of any kind.
And listen to my other podcast, Why You Mad? And also, if you're in New York, go see my live show so that it's alive when I get back. It's called Meat Space. It's at the Gutter, and it's in my Twitter bio link, pin tweet thing.
Let's go. Anders?
Of some stuff I'll plug stuff next week. Some good stuff you can do. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. Okay.
I don't know if
send oil to Anders' house and he will drink the oil because he is a robot now and forever, and his body is hard and made of steel.
Yeah, he needs it.
Oh boy, do I have good news for you if you are a New York comedy fan. I'm producing 3 or 4 live shows in the next month, all fundraisers for DSA candidates in local winnable state elections that actually matter, and it rocks, and they're going to be hot shows, and they're happening. One's happening in Bushwick, one's happening in Flatbush, and then we have our normal show in Manhattan, third Friday of the month. So I'm going to have all of those links up on my Twitter at Patak Test Kitchen, and then you should also follow the Paid Protest Twitter at Paid Protest, and all the flyers and information will be on there too. So yeah, pretty cool stuff about that. And that's going to be it for me this week.
Yeah, okay. We're all good, right? I got to go load a thing into a thing and put a heart in a blender and all this shit.
Yeah, be careful. There's a Mexican invasion out there.
I will. I'll look out for it.
Okay. All right, everybody.
It's finished.
It is finished.
It's robot finished.